Let's wait for some folks to trickle in. All right, so we've got 23 people here. How you doing? If you can hear me, just say something in the chat, um, just so I can make sure the microphone's good. And yeah, I think we'll wait for some people to trickle in. We've got about perfect. All right. We've got some folks here and they can hear. Great. So we will get going in about 3 minutes here. And then, yeah, I'll talk about cold traffic and how to get customers, all that fun stuff. And we can get going here. All right. What's up, Aaron? What's up, Valentine, Darcy, Clara, Michael, Nicole? All right. Mark's here. Philip's here. All right. We got the whole gang here today. That's great. So yeah, this is going to be interactive. I'm going to go through the slides that I have, and I know some of you have got the course, so it'll be similar in format, but except it's live. I'll be focused more on how to get you guys some traffic. All right. So yeah. All right. 2 more minutes just to get more people come in. Then we'll get started. All right. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Darcy. Okay. I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. So yeah, I might start doing these Q&As more often. I think they'll be helpful. And it's also more efficient. So instead of doing one-on-ones, doing things in a group setting can help a lot more people at the same time. So in 1 more minute, I'll get started. And yeah, feel free to, again, ask any questions that you have along the way. Because I think it'll be beneficial, not just to you, but to everyone who's participating. And then this will be recorded as well, so other people will watch it as they find the time, because there's people all over the world who use my product. So this time works great for people that are in the US, but might not work great for other people. All right. Yeah, so this is more about traffic, okay? This is a Q&A geared towards traffic, okay? And I mean, traffic really is probably the most important thing when it comes to the internet. That is what I found, right? So without traffic, you're not going to have a business, right? It doesn't matter what you do. If you can't get people to come to your site, you're not going to have a business. But all right, so I think with that, it's 11 o'clock. We've got 40 some odd people here. I think we can get started, okay? So I will go right into my slides here, all right? Let's see what we got. Let me make sure I can see the chat. Perfect. All right. So yeah, let me know if you guys can see the slides, the Google Slides. Leads. Okay, yeah, maybe we do a Q&A for leads. Okay, so what I want to do now is just start going over the slides. Okay, so this is dedicated to mastering cold traffic. Okay, and again, this will be a Q&A session. So as I go through the slides, I want you to ask questions. I encourage you to ask questions about your business and how we can apply these strategies for your business. Okay. All right, so the first thing that I want to highlight is when it comes to traffic, it doesn't matter what your business is, right? It doesn't matter if you have software as a service. It doesn't matter if your product is digital or if it's physical. Like if you're actually doing physical work, that takes time. You need to master Facebook and Google. That is pretty much what it boils down to. Okay. You need to be good at getting paid traffic to convert, whether it's from Facebook or Google, or getting organic traffic to convert. Okay. And that is the two things I'll be focused on today. Okay. So the first thing I'll say, that when it comes to traffic, right, I think everybody's looking for some secret sauce, right? Like the thing where it's like, if I apply this one thing, then I'll have like this mountain of traffic coming to my site and I'll never have to worry about customer acquisition again, you know? But what I found is that's not really true. Okay. Getting customers and getting more is an activity that you'll always be engaged in. But once you have the systems in place, right, it should work on autopilot, right? But all things considered, right, let's assume that you've got the traffic figured out, right, where you can pay Facebook or you can pay Google and traffic is going to come, or you create, you know, a bunch of SEO pages and traffic is coming through, right? Then what's going to end up happening is you are going to run into an issue where maybe no one's converting, right? Maybe you've got people coming to your thing, but not taking the actions you want. Okay. And what I've discovered is the secret sauce, the real secret sauce is trust. Okay. You have to rewire your brain to approach traffic and business in general as an activity where, all right, I've got to earn the trust of this person as quickly as possible, right? And I think what most people do is they say, okay, I've got I've got a site, or I've got a product or service that's great. People are buying it. I'm just going to send traffic to the website, right? Or I'm just going to send traffic to the product page and expect that people are going to buy. And that is the wrong expectation. Okay. You need to think about cold traffic as an opportunity to, or the beginning of the journey of acquiring trust or gaining the trust for this potential customer, right? Getting their trust. Okay. And again, this might be repetitive if you've seen it in the course. Okay. But there are 5 levels to customer awareness. All right. So when you think about, okay, cold traffic, I've got cold traffic and I want them to become a customer, right? It does not happen on the first click. Okay. No one will see your thing, right? Whether it's on Google or Facebook, they will not see your product, your offer, your product, your service, whatever it is, and then buy on the first click. Okay. That's just not going to happen. That's not how it works. It's funny because that's not how you purchase things, right? You don't purchase things based on, you know, impulsively. I see this the first time and I'm going to buy it. There is some level of trust that was gained in the process before you made the purchase decision. Okay. So that's how you need to approach cold traffic. It's an exercise in trust. How do we get our potential customers to trust us? Okay. That we'll deliver on the promise that we're promising, that will solve their problem. Okay. And again, these are the 5 levels of customer awareness. If you didn't see it in my course, here it is again. So when you think about buying a new product, or you're in that process of buying a new product, right? So we're going to put ourselves in your customer's shoes for now. There's 5 levels. They're unaware, they're problem aware, solution aware, product aware, most aware. Okay. So yeah, we're taking a person who doesn't know anything about you. They might not even know they have a problem, right? They might not even know your product exists. So we have to take them on this journey from going to not knowing about your product, to becoming aware of the problem, to becoming aware of the solution, which is your product, being product aware, where they know that your product exists and they want it, and then being most aware to where they're ready to buy. Okay. And buy from you. Okay. So now on to the next slide, where the question becomes, how do we accelerate trust, right? So if the goal with cold traffic is to accelerate trust, right, or gain the trust of our potential customers, how do we accelerate that trust, right? So yeah, again, if you don't have traffic, but you don't have conversions, trust is the missing link. Okay. And I will talk about how I accelerate trust. Okay. And let's see if we have any questions up to now. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Not yet. Don't see any. Perfect. Okay, so on this slide, what I want to talk about is Facebook ads. Okay, and it's funny because when I talk about ads, a lot of people get scared because they're like, ads. I don't want to use ads. I'm not. My product isn't working organically yet. Why am I going to use ads? Okay. And my response to ads is that they work really well if you structure your business and your ads in the right way, right? And you set your expectations properly. Okay. Uh, so what do I mean by that? Okay. I'll give you an example. Okay. So for my course, which I mean, 1,000 people have got it already. One thing that I've tried and been successful with is Facebook ads, right? So this is cold traffic, people that have never heard about niches, packages, any product of mine before. They don't know I exist, right? But when you approach cold traffic in this way, where it's like, I want to gain your trust first before I try to sell you something, you will get sales. Okay, people will buy from you. Okay, so with this Facebook ad that I ran, okay, and this is a video ad, okay, just 2,000 views got me hundreds of leads, and it even got me sales. Okay, and this is from cold traffic. And this is because I structured the campaign in such a way to where it lended itself to gaining that trust, to the point where people were able to provide their email address or contact information or book a call. And over the course of a few days, buy the course. Okay. And this isn't something that happens immediately. Okay. While there are people that will impulsively buy based on whatever the ad that you've put out there is, you have to understand that nobody's going to whip out their credit card, especially on social media. Okay. Social media is not a place where people are in buying mode. They're in like, I want to look at funny memes mode. Okay. So people aren't going to buy off the first interaction. Okay. So with this Facebook ad, right, like I said, it generated just 2,000 views, hundreds of leads, and even sales. Okay. And that's all from cold traffic. Okay. And the thing to keep in mind, right, is that once you've got a customer, ideally they're a customer for life, right? So you want to continue to provide value for them over time. And the cool thing about using Facebook to get paid, customers who are paying, is that it ends up working itself out if you look over the long term. Okay. So the thing with Facebook ads or any ads platform, right, is you need to be comfortable with testing. Okay. You need to test all the different angles that you can for your product or service. Okay. And let me see here. So if you think about ads, right? Let's see, what are some of the angles you can test? So one of the things I like to think about, right? And we'll use my course an example, which is just, the 7-figure blueprint to making money with AI. This ad here that I used, right? It was a very generic ad where it's like, if you know how to use ChatGPT, you have the skills required to make money. Let me show you how to do it. Okay. With this one prompt. Okay. So again, I wasn't trying to sell them immediately in that ad. Right. But what I was doing was anchoring my offer with a freebie. Okay. And you can call it a lead magnet. You can call it whatever you want, but I was able to generate leads for less than $1. Okay. And with those leads, I was able to start a drip campaign. So like an email campaign that was spread out over 4 days. And through that email campaign, I was able to get sales. Okay. So not the initial click. Remember, not the initial click, but we want to build trust. And then we want to sell after we've established the trust. Okay. So we've got our first question. Let's see what this question is. It says, can I look at the replay for this? I don't have time to stay today. Yes, this is going to be saved and you can watch this later. Anyone can watch this later. Okay. But yeah, so back to Facebook ads. Okay. So what is the fastest way to gain trust? Okay. That I've found, all right, over the years is the fastest way to gain trust is through one-on-one calls. Okay. And you need to find a way if you want to establish trust as quickly as possible, is you need to find a way to integrate one-on-one calls into your business. Okay. So the strategy here, right, with one-on-one calls is you're driving traffic to a landing page where your potential customer takes the action you want them to take, right? Um, so um, so the goal isn't what I found, right? And it doesn't matter what you do, if it's software, if it's digital, if it's a physical service, right? Uh, the goal that I found that is a great goal to have is not to sign up or buy immediately, right? Like again, trust hasn't been gained yet. We do not want to lead with "Give me your credit card. You don't know anything about me. Give me your credit card, and I'll solve all your problems." No, I think the best thing to do, right, is to uh, get your prospect or get your potential customer on a call, right, uh, and establish trust as quickly as you can. And you can do this with any product, okay? So uh, so if you have a product, okay, and I love going back to software because a lot of my success has been with software, right? But typically software is low interaction, right? It should be the perfect piece of software is completely self-serve, okay, where you don't need to talk to a human. You just go to the software and it should do the selling for you, right? But one-on-one calls work great, especially with software business, because you can understand, right, who your customer is. And on a one-on-one call, you have the flexibility to say, okay, this product, my product might not be a good fit, this one product that I'm advertising, but through doing the one-on-one calls, you might realize, hey, there's actually a lower ticket or even a higher ticket product or service that I can offer based on the one-on-one calls I'm having, so what ends up happening, right, is these one-on-one calls aren't just an opportunity to make a sale. They're an opportunity to understand your customer on a deeper level so that you can provide more value and create better ads. Okay. So this is one of my favorite cold traffic strategies is getting people on the phone, okay, or on a Zoom call, on a Google Meet call, okay. All right. So the other thing to keep in mind with paid social, right, is you want to you want to make sure that you have systems in place to continue the task of building that trust after they've gone to your site, right? Because you have to remember, people are in they're in social media mode on Facebook, right? So they're really there just to keep up with their friends or look at memes, right? So if you have a business opportunity or if you have a product or service that you're trying to push to them, right, you have to understand that they're not interested in buying and they're not interested in spending time on your landing page or signing up to your thing and understanding it, right? So you need to have email sequences in place to where once they've given you their information, whether it's an email or whether they booked a call, right, you need to have systems in place to where you're nurturing them after they've opted in or after they have said, hey, whatever you got is cool. Maybe I don't want to buy now, but maybe I'll buy later, or maybe I'll hop on a call later, right? You need to have email sequences in place to nurture them. So by the time they come on the call, right, it's not completely education based call, right? It's a sales call, right? Because one thing that a lot of people do, right, is they say, okay, I booked the call. I'll just have the reminders, right? And then that's it. I'll just have the reminders go out and the reminders will be my email sequence. And then they hop on the call and I'll just talk to them, right? The issue with that approach is your show rates will be extremely low. And by show rate, I mean the percentage of people that actually show up to the call, okay? And then the other thing is you're not selling on that call anymore. You're just educating because they don't know anything about your offer, right? They don't care because you didn't inform them. So they're not going to know what to do next or why they should buy your thing. It's just going to be an education conversation where you spend most of the time telling them what you do instead of like selling, right? So yeah, that's why I say email sequences are really important. Okay. So we've got a question here from Carl. Carl says, could we have a package playbook for email sequences? Yes, I can add that to packages. I actually have a email sequence that I use that's in the screenshot, the email sequence that I used for my course when I started running Facebook ads for it. It's just a 4-day sequence. And that 4-day sequence got me sales. So it works. Okay. El Tiburon says, hi, I'm a lifetime early investor. Good to see you continuing your development. Thank you for your support. Passive income stream. Does FB ads have AI now? I don't want to get banned. Facebook ads do have AI components to it, right? You probably won't get banned. I don't know what you mean by getting banned, but if your ad is bad, it probably won't even get approved. So I don't think you should worry about getting banned. All right, so yeah, so this is my Facebook ad strategy, okay? And I'm going to start, I don't know if you guys are in the Facebook group, but I'm going to start doing one-on-ones where I build out packages for you that drive results. Yeah, and increase your bottom line. And if it doesn't do that, right, if you don't make any money, I will refund you all your money. So that is a program that I'm coming out with, and I'll share details about that at the end of this, okay? So yeah, on one-on-one calls, and I already mentioned this already, but the beauty of one-on-one calls is they're really open-ended, tailored to the customer you're speaking to, okay? And especially once you expand what I call your product catalog, right? So if you think about your business as being this thing that has a variety of different products, right? Once you get on these one-on-one calls and you understand the goal of your customer, their budget, whatever it is, you can just offer the right product to them, right? And then what you'll notice too, as you do more one-on-one calls, is you'll start to understand the segment of the market that really loves what you've built or the product or service that you provide, right? So the cool thing about, again, one-on-one calls is you figured all that out really quickly. And it probably takes only 10 one-on-one calls to get a sale, right? Like, especially if you've got the targeting dialed in, if your ads are working great, it shouldn't take you long to make your first sale. Especially as you do one-on-one calls. Okay. So let's see here. Let me look at some of the questions. Okay. Now we're getting some good questions here. All right. So this question is, what is the hook to get someone on a call versus a sale? Okay. And this is a really good question. Okay. And this really boils down to what you actually want them to do, right? And what your product is. Okay. So one strategy that I like to use, right, whether it's getting a sale or a call, is to actually call out exactly what you want them to do in the ad. Okay. So let's say you want to get a call, right? So for me, my business is helping businesses grow, right? With automation yeah, that's really the goal for my business. So if I want to get people on a call, my ad will simply be, hey, do you have a nail salon? Are you struggling with getting people through the door, right? So the hook is right there is, do you have X business? Are you struggling getting customers? Do you want to hop on a call and figure it out, right? So the hook is really designed to call out who your ideal customer is and what you want them to do. Okay, that is really what a hook should do. After the hook, then comes the story or whatever it is you want to offer to the person, and then at the end you have a call to action, and you can just say, book a call, or you can say buy it now, right? But your hook should really grab the attention of your ideal customer. That is what your hook should do. What is your preferred software for email sequences? There's a lot of different software out there. I actually use Packages, which is a software I made to do the email sequences, right? Again, you can use whatever you want. I use Packages simply because it lets me be super granular and super specific about what I want to happen at each part of the sequence, right? And Packages is so crazy that you can, let's say you've got a 4 email sequence. Okay. On the second sequence in that email sequence, like you can do some crazy things where it's tailored to actions that specific user took. And then it could use AI to craft a custom message based on what they've done so far. Okay. So I like packages, but there's a lot of other software that does it. Yeah. So the next question is, what's your approach to defining a minimum viable product? When is it good? Okay, so for me, an MVP is good when people are willing to pay for it. Okay, that is the ultimate test. So I think this is a question around validation, and validation to me really only happens when people pay. Okay, so when is it good enough for people to pay? I mean, you only figure that out via traffic, right? So you can do that with paid traffic and the things that I've mentioned up to now. That's a good way to see if people are willing to pay and if you've got a good MVP. And you don't have a good MVP if people are complaining, right? So if people are complaining that, hey, this isn't doing what I expected to do, right? That is a good way to know if you've got an MVP that's good or not. Okay. Next question. Is there a way to construct packages through code like what people do with JSON for N8N? There is no way to do it with code yet. Maybe one day I'll get there, but right now it's just drag and drop, and connecting nodes to other nodes. So let's see here. This one-on-one call thingy lends itself to services too. I'm a copywriter. Absolutely lends itself to services. Okay. But my question to you would be, who do you write copy for, right? Do you write copy for everyone? My recommendation would be to niche down, right? And figure out, look at the clients you've had in the past, look at the industries they're in, right? Look at the type of copy they want you to write, and then figure out how you can incorporate one-on-ones in your copywriting business, okay? Because one-on-ones work for everything, especially when you front your one-on-one calls with discovery calls, right? And around a certain goal. So like, let's say your copywriting services are geared towards people who own, again, I'll use the nail salon example, nail salons, right? Maybe they want copy written in such a way that brings more traffic, and your ad should be very specific about, I do copywriting for this type of business. Let's get on a one-on-one call and figure out how we can make it work for your business. So one-on-ones work for everything. Okay. Let's see, going through more questions. So she says, I'm scared of ads because of the cost. How much of a budget do you suggest? Okay. So the cool thing about ads is they work at any budget level, right? You can spend $5 a day and see traction. Okay. But one thing that I like to do is test at $20 to $50, right? If nothing happens at that price point, I need to revisit the ads. Okay. And again, that's the beauty of ads. And I think a lot of people don't know this, is like, you can turn them off, right? If you don't like the results, you can turn them off. If you want more results, you can turn them on, but you should get leads after $20 or $50. If you don't, you're doing something really wrong. For the course that I made when I was doing the paid traffic for it, right? I was getting leads for less than $1. Okay. And that's great. So email addresses for less than $1. That email sequence where you send 4 emails, I was doing that for less than $1 per person. And at scale, right? I was getting sales for less than the cost of the course. So there's no reason to turn them off when they work. But you shouldn't be scared of ads, because when they work, you're going to want to actually spend more. So that's my thing on ads. Let's see here. Dale says, for those new to paid ads, what's the lowest budget you recommend for a campaign that still provides enough feedback for scaling? Again, so this is similar to that other question. You can see traction again with $5, okay, a day. Okay, it's not going to be very much. All right, you might get maybe at best 5 leads a day, okay, or 5 signups a day. But as you scale up, you're going to want to spend more, because you're just going to get more calls, more traction, more sales, right? But you should see, like I said before, you should see traction at the $20 or $50 mark. And if you don't, something's wrong with your ad. Okay. Here's another question that Mark has. It says, I thought you could use JavaScript and package, which gives you some extent of coding capabilities. Okay, so yes, you can use JavaScript within packages. Okay. But I think the question was around, could you use JSON or could you use code to create a package from scratch, and you can't start with JSON to make a package, but within the package you can use JavaScript. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to answer a few more questions and go back to the slides, because the next set of slides is geared towards organic traffic. Okay. So the next question is, or sorry, the next comment is, makes sense. I do it for health supplement companies. Okay. So yeah, for the one-on-one calls, right? And especially when you're running ads for one-on-one calls, if you do it for health supplement companies, I guarantee you there's a result that they want out of your copywriting skills, right? And that's where you need to lead. That's what you need to lead with your ads. Okay. So if you have, I don't know what kind of copy you write for these companies, but let's say it's blog posts, right, that drive revenue, because that's really what any business wants. They want more revenue, right? So your copywriting is driving revenue, right? Your one-on-one calls can simply be, hey, do you want to talk about how to increase the revenue for your supplement with my copywriting services? I did this, this, and this for these companies. My copy works. I want to do it for your company. Let's book a call and talk about it. Okay. That's really the premise. That should be the premise of your one-on-one calls. All right. So we've got another question, and then I'm going to take one more, and then I'm going to jump back into the slides. How long do you test ads before you know to cut them off or increase your budget? Okay. This varies for a lot of different people. For me, and this is the beauty with ads again, okay, is that if you don't like what they're doing, you can turn them off. Okay. So again, I really, with $20 or $50, especially when you have the goal in the beginning of getting people on the phone or on a Zoom call, if $20 or $50 isn't getting you the results you want, you can turn it off. Okay. And you should really turn them off when you're not getting the result you want anymore, right? And I think the mistake a lot of people make is they say, okay, I'm running ads, right? But I'm not, like, I spent $100 on ads, but I didn't make $100 back, or I didn't make $200 back, or I didn't make $300 back immediately, right? So I'm going to turn them off. And that's the wrong approach, okay? The right approach, and I think the approach that you should take when you're beginning, especially with my one-on-one strategy, is you should say $100 got me 0 calls or 0 leads, right? What went wrong? Okay. So you should optimize for getting leads first and understand who is clicking on your ads and who's engaging with your ads, right? And once that happens, then you can revisit and say, okay, with this $100, this happened. I got sales or I didn't. Do I want to keep going or not? Okay. And for me, once you get really good at this, you should really get into a place where you're happy to give Facebook as much money as humanly possible. Okay. That's like, once you do ads the right way, that's the mindset that you have, right? But in the beginning, it should be test to get leads and to get signups and to get people on the phone. And based on those conversations, based on the sales that come out of those conversations, do I want to give Facebook more money, or do I want to stop, or do I want to tweak my ads, right? That is the approach you should take. And $20 to $50, you should see something with that. $50 should obviously super duper do something, okay? All right, so this is the last question before I jump on to the Google side of things, okay? So the SEO side of things, all right? So the question is, where do you run your ads? Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, TikTok, okay? So Facebook and Google is where I've had success with ads. Okay. I haven't run ads on LinkedIn. I'm sure they'd work there too, but LinkedIn is crazy expensive. Okay. Insanely expensive. But that might work for your business, right? Like, your ideal customer probably might be on LinkedIn, right? But they're also on Facebook, and it's much cheaper to target them on Facebook, and they're definitely on Google. So yeah, it might be cheaper and more cost efficient to target them on Google, but Facebook and Google definitely where you should start. TikTok, again, TikTok works. I wouldn't do it though, especially starting out, because TikTok traffic, when I think about TikTok traffic, is it's just it's a younger demographic, and it's a place where I feel like it's really like fun and like meme type story time type stuff, and I don't think they're in the mood to be sold to, especially if it's something like copywriting, if it's something like software as a service, right? If it's something like that's B2B, I don't think that's the way to go. But yeah. All right, so back to the slides. Now we're going to focus on organic, okay? So now I'm going to talk about what I've done for my businesses, right? My biggest business, which is Niches, my cold traffic strategy there, okay? And how you can apply it to your business, okay? So again, cold traffic, the goal is trust, okay? We want to establish trust as quickly as possible, okay? We're not after sales, because sales happen after trust, okay? So the goal is to establish trust as quickly as possible, okay? And on the Google side, so SEO, search engine, all that stuff, the fastest way to gain trust I found is via tools and one-on-one calls like we do on the paid side, okay? And again, I don't believe in lead magnets are great, okay? They work great for establishing trust, but the only way I feel like to establish trust, the best way to establish trust, especially as we move to like an AI first generation, is one-on-one calls, because most people are scared to talk to people, okay? And that is going to be like your competitive advantage, is your ability to talk to people, okay? And understand their problems on a deep level, all right? But let's dig into the tools, okay? And how you're going to make these tools, okay? So, again, I use packages to create at least 1,000 SEO pages very quickly, okay? And I've done this with a few of you on the few free one-on-one calls that I used to do, but the goal here is you just need to find the opportunity for 1,000 SEO pages, okay? And then create them really quickly. And I can do that for you, again, with the one-on-one program that I'm coming out with. So yeah, why do tools and the 1,000 page approach work so well, okay? So tools work really well because they induce what I like to call a dopamine hit in your brain, okay? When you use a tool, like the tools that I have here, where we have the interview question tool where you can take practice questions after, or like a tool like the Reddit post generator, what ends up happening is this kind of traffic, they are dialed into solving a specific problem, okay? They need this tool because there's something that they're after, okay? There's like a task they want to complete, right? So we send them to a landing page, right? And again, create thousands of these, right? Across a variety of different use cases. Okay. Once you create these tools, your ideal customer will come through, they'll use the tool, right? And then after they use the tool, you'll either require them to sign up or pay to use more, or to get on a call to actually like understand how to get more out of the tool, okay? So again, you're using these pages as an anchor to your core product, okay? And through this, trust will be established, okay? So the best kind of tool, okay, is pretty much something that's an extension of your core offer or your core product or your core service, okay? Let's see if we have any questions here. So yeah, so I think if you have any questions, tell me what your industry is or what you do, and I'll tell you, I'll give you a good idea of the kind of tools that you should generate or the landing pages, okay? But again, these things work because they get your ideal customer or your potential customer excited about getting this problem solved, okay? And the best kind of tool is a tool that, like I said, is an extension of your core product, and that lends itself to eventually get your customer to want to use your core product, okay? So these 1,000 pages will capture various angles of the market, okay? So if in the case of Niches, right, it's an AI copywriting tool, right? But there's a lot of different industries that need different kinds of copy, okay? So these 1,000 pages that are generated, they're dedicated to the different kinds of copy that people might want to generate, right? But instead of targeting just AI copy generator, which is what most people do when they have a business, right? Like, I have copywriting services. Let me just rank for copywriting services. You create these 1,000 pages, 1,000 plus, right? In the case of Niches, there's 20,000 pages. But you create these pages that are geared towards solving copywriting for a specific type of task, right? So I've got interview questions pages, and I've got, you know, generator pages, like in this case, Reddit post generator. Okay. And again, these pages were generated with AI, but they look very different. They don't just look like a blob of text that ChatGPT generates. Okay. They're pages that are customized and look and feel like real pages, and Google isn't going to think that it's AI generated. So they're going to rank, all right. And they're going to rank really high, like page 1. Okay. But again, we are focused on establishing trust as quickly as possible. That's the name of the game with cold traffic. So that is what the goal should be. Okay. And again, finding these tools, because it's all about finding the right tools, right, for your business. It requires keyword research. Okay. It requires understanding who your competitors are and working backwards and figuring out how they're getting traffic today. Okay. The other tactic that I like to use, right, is not looking at your competitors, but looking at other industries where people can benefit from your product or service. Okay. And if you look here, this is a snapshot from the Google Search Console. Okay. This is SEO traffic. Okay. So my Reddit post generator in the last couple of months has generated 20,000 clicks. Okay. The table of contents generator has generated 15,000 clicks. Okay. So that's 15,000 people that have said, hey, I need a table of contents generator. Okay. But even just looking at some of these landing pages, right? Like there's so many business opportunities when you just look at this kind of tool, right? Like, for example, a table of contents generator. If you look at that, you might think, okay, this person just wants a table of contents generator. Maybe I should create a table of contents business, right? But that's not what would be the ideal business to create with a table of contents generator. The kind of business you would create, right, off the strength of this, and again, it's getting 13,000 people that are coming here, and this is free traffic, which is awesome. Once you nail the 1,000 pages, this could lend itself to an insane, like, high-tech offer where you help people write a book, right? Like maybe you guide them through the process of writing a book, but through that process, right, you want to get low-hanging fruit where it's like, I want a table of contents generator because this person most likely is generating a book. Okay. So yeah, the idea is for your business, you identify, and again, I can help you figure this out for your business. You identify these landing pages, and then we'll create them together. I'll create the package that will get these pages generated and then get you thousands of visits. Okay. So yeah, you just need to think about, especially on the Google organic side, what are the tools, right? So think calculators or lead forms or just any kind of thing that generates some sort of feedback based on inputs that your customer would provide, right? Think of tools, calculators, things that provide instant feedback and then lend themselves to a one-on-one call afterwards, right? At scale, though, you probably wouldn't want to do one-on-one calls anymore because, like, I don't want to do 20,000 one-on-one calls with people wanting to, gamify Reddit, or one-on-one calls with people wanting to generate a table of contents, right? Like, you have to do what makes sense for your business, but tools are a great way to grow your business and get traffic, free traffic from Google. Okay. All right. So here's the other thing to keep in mind with cold traffic. Okay. We want to do, we want to add email sequences just like we have, just like I mentioned on the paid side, right? We want email sequences as well on the organic side. Okay. And again, in these email sequences, you can do whatever you want. You can push one-on-one calls. You can push, selling a low ticket product, right? But you can even push signups like, hey, you use this one tool and we helped you with the one thing you wanted, but we have this really good product that actually helps you through the whole journey, right? So sign up. So whatever you want them to do, right, mention it in your email sequence, okay? But like I said, trust, the name of the game is trust and accelerating trust, okay? And nothing will get someone to trust you more than hopping on a free, 15-minute Zoom call, okay? me see here. We got a few questions coming. Let me finish real quick here. So yeah, the other thing to keep in mind, okay, with organic traffic is it takes a while to see results, okay, but they pay off, okay. Most of the things that I've done, once you identify the right keywords and you create the pages and you wait, you can get page one, okay. You can get on page one for certain keywords. Again, this is long tail, so you're going to get like 1,000 pages, and a few of them will get like 1 visit a day, some will get 10, but when you add them up, you end up with a situation where you're getting 1,000 visits a day or 2,000, 3,000 visits a day, okay. So that's the name of the game. Long tail, 1,000 pages or more. Ideally there's a lot more. But yeah, the results when they pay off is awesome because you'll get thousands of visits a day. And not only will you appear in Google, but you get the added benefit of appearing in ChatGPT as well. Okay. And that's where we're headed. Okay. Everyone's going to do the searching they do, or that behavior around searching for information will start to take place in ChatGPT. And really, to appear there, you just have to be good at SEO because that's where it's pulling the data from anyway. So if Google can find you, ChatGPT can find you. And that's why I love my 1,000-page strategy so well. Because I get subscriptions to my software like every day, and it's insane because, again, no paid ads, it's free. You just have to have the patience to wait. Okay. Let's look if we have any questions. We're almost here. Okay. So the last thing that I want to touch on when it comes to cold traffic, okay, and gaining trust, because that's the name of the game, is trust, okay, is that as people discover you, okay, they'll naturally want to do research, okay, and this is where YouTube comes into play, okay. So YouTube, the goal with YouTube is, for me at least, is not to have 1 million subscribers and get money from ads, okay. That's just an added benefit, but that's never a goal of mine. Probably will never be a goal of mine, okay. You want to use YouTube to dump all your knowledge and let your prospects or your ideal customers binge watch, okay? Because there's this stat floating around, right, that says it takes 7 hours to establish trust, okay? It takes 7 hours for your ideal client to say, okay, on their own, say, I think I can trust this person. Let me buy whatever it is they're selling, okay? And in your videos, right, what you want to do is you want to focus on not just selling, but general advice as it pertains to your niche. Okay. So you just want to prove that you're an authority, or you can be an authority in the particular market that you're trying to serve. Okay. And just put out videos that provide general knowledge, 5-minute videos, 15-minute videos that say, okay, this particular problem that you've got, this particular problem that I've identified through doing one-on-one calls with a variety of people. Here's the problem, here's how to solve it, or here's how I would solve it, or here's how to approach it. Here's a 5-minute video on that. Okay. And I don't know if you guys watched this video, but I made this video, a couple views, and I got a lot of course sales off the strength of this video. Okay. And again, only 421 views, not monetized. But it's just one more opportunity to provide trust, and sales came out of that. Okay. So what you want to do, right, with your business, right? And again, it doesn't matter if you do copywriting. It doesn't matter if you are a marketing agency. It doesn't matter if you have a software as a service. Make videos, right, that provide advice that is adjacent or related to your product or service. Okay. And you don't have to actually sell in the video. Okay. You can do that if you want, but ideally you're providing generic advice, valuable advice, right? And it doesn't always have to be, again, if you have software, right, it doesn't always have to be you showing the software, right? It could just be general advice, right? That someone in the industry could find useful. Okay. So yeah, that is it for the organic side. Okay. Again, you want to do YouTube. You want to have YouTube videos so people can binge watch, and you gain that trust. Okay. So yeah, let's look at these questions. All right. Perfect. Okay, so we've got a question. Do you ever suffer from burnout or give yourself days off for your business? I don't think so. I mean, I think here's the thing. I love doing what I do, so there's no burning out for me. This is fun for me. But I do recommend if you're not, if you don't have this gene where you're like, I want to keep providing value, then yeah, take a day off. But I don't usually take days off. Okay, every day is fun for me. Uh, can you do a video walkthrough showing us the process of your SEO 1000 pages package, showing all the steps, choosing an idea, creating the 1000 pages, getting the pages indexed, change the results? Sorry, check the results. Okay. I can do that. Probably will be a separate video because this live was only for an hour, so I want to get through all the questions. But I definitely can dedicate a video to that. Let's see. So health coaching. Okay, so Travel Tales with Othvar says health coaching is his niche. Okay. I think I asked the niche question when I was on the slide about 1000 pages, maybe. So yeah, so with health coaching, I don't know what particular segment of health coaching you do, who's your niche, but what I would say is what works in health really well is quizzes. Okay. So understanding what their goals are, their weight, their height, with how they eat, and then come up with some assessment. And then after that assessment, you will book the one-on-one call to figure out, what product or service works for them. Okay. So that's how I would structure it. So would you drip feed the 1000 SEO pages? If so, over what period of time? I would not. Okay. You could if you want. I just have never done that, and the pages rank well. You can drip feed them if you want, but 1000 pages is it's actually not a lot in the grand scheme of things. It seems like it's a lot, but what you're doing, right, is you're creating templates, and then with those templates, then you're churning out as many pages as you can. If you're scared you're going to get banned, which I don't think you will, right? You can slowly again do the drip, but it shouldn't be a problem. I do this all the time, and I've not gotten banned or seen a reduction in my traffic. All right, so Mark has a question. He says, I very well see the tool idea for software. My business is on the mindful life optimization, and I'm trying to understand if tool approach would also work for such a business. What could such a tool be? Okay, so this sounds like coaching as well, okay? And like I mentioned with health coaching, if your niche or what you do is dedicated to mindful life optimization, which sounds like coaching, based on the calls you do and based on the clients you're servicing already, what I would do, and again, we're thinking really early in the customer journey, what I would do is I would come up with a quiz, okay? And again, you don't want a long drawn out quiz, right? Because you have to think about, again, we're talking about cold traffic. So I want you to think about cold traffic that comes in via Facebook, which their attention span is very small. Okay, so that quiz needs to be short. Okay, and then on the organic side, you can probably make it a little longer if you want. Okay, but yeah, you want a quiz. Your tool would be a quiz. Okay, and you can have as many quizzes as you want, but your tool would be a quiz. And then after the quiz, you give the result, and then there's a book a call. Okay, and then on the call, you can sell them whatever you want on the call. Okay. Okay, so the next question is, what are you using to create landing pages? Okay, so you can use WordPress. All right, WordPress is what I would recommend because it gives you the flexibility to change things around, right, and structure it the way you want. But for my products, I mean, they're all custom landing pages. Okay, but I would recommend WordPress because, again, I think everyone's familiar with WordPress. Once the page is generated, you can go in there and customize it. But with packages, right, it can do whatever you want. So it can post it to WordPress, or if you want to put them on Wix or whatever other content management system you have, it'll be able to do that. But for my business, their custom landing pages they're custom landing pages. But for your business, you can use WordPress. Okay. Any chance we're going to need backlinks, etc., to get those 1000 pages to rank? So, great question. So again, this is just SEO at the end of the day, right? Backlinks help. Okay, obviously they help a lot. But what I found, right, especially for my businesses, is I don't even do backlinks. Okay, backlinks is not something I do. Um, Again, they work, and I'm sure they would accelerate the time that it takes to rank. But the thing that matters most, more than anything, is uh, if people stay on your page for a long time. Okay, if people are interacting with your site for a long time. And going back to that slide where going back to this slide, sorry, where we've got thousands of visits for each of these pages. If you put in, if you put in any of these searches in Google, Reddit post generator, table of contents generator, niches will be on page 1 or page 2, depends on where in the world you are. And the reason why they're ranked high is because people stay. Okay, without backlinks, people are staying for a while. So that's really what it boils down to. All right. All right. So I think that's for someone else. Let's see. So naive question: to get traffic to 1,000 pages, will this just happen through search engine crawlers, or do you recommend any active strategy to make them getting visitors? Yeah. So this is literally just making the pages and sending what's called a sitemap to Google. Okay. WordPress can generate the sitemap for you. But yeah, you just send the sitemap to Google. Google will see that sitemap, index the pages. Okay. And they will rank. You just got to wait, but they'll rank. All right. You might have to wait a few months, but they'll rank. Okay. Where are you posting this SEO content? So ideally the content is getting posted to your site, the site dedicated to your business. Okay. Because what ends up happening is as they rank and as people visit these pages and as they stay long and use the tools and take the quizzes, your domain authority or your domain rank will increase, right? You'll get more visitors, and that that SEO juice, or that that SEO, those SEO benefits will trickle over to the domain in general. Okay, so you want to do this on the site that houses the main site for your product or service. Okay. All right, so we got another question. Would you do one-time offer, upsell, cross-sell? I think it's a bit too aggressive. What's your advice? Okay, so this is a good question, and it all depends. Okay, I think if you're asking this question, you're very familiar with internet marketing and how people sell, right? How internet marketers sell. They do the one-time offer thing. They do upsells. They do cross-sells, right? But this isn't something that's limited to just internet marketing, right? Or internet sales in general. Like every company will try to cross-sell you, upsell you, downsell you. So I think it just depends on your industry, right? But I think you really should program your brain to say, my number one goal is, at least now, is to just get someone on the phone. Okay, get someone on a Zoom call, one-on-one call. Okay, on a one-on-one call, you will have the flexibility to do whatever you want, whatever your customer wants, you can provide it for them. As you do more one-on-one calls, you'll figure out that maybe I should offer this product, right? Or based on the budget of the person that's in front of me, like they're just going to need some new product that is like way more bare bones than the premium product that I'm offering. Okay. But yes, you should definitely do this one-time offer, upsell, cross-sell stuff as you get more comfortable with Facebook ads, because what ends up happening is without these things, you're leaving money on the table. Okay. There will be people that will say, I want the upsell. I want the $17 order bump, right? Or there will be people that purchase, your low ticket product, and then on the second page, when they see the one-time offer, they'll be like, no, I really need this. I'll pay $300, right, for this one-time offer. But yeah, it's something you should incorporate. And you're leaving money on the table if you don't do it. But in the beginning, as you optimize for leads and one-on-one calls, you should be doing this stuff on the call, okay, in a non-salesy way. All right, so Brian says, I would also love to know more about the 1,000 page strategy. Tell me your industry, and I will tell you an ideal strategy. Okay. How do you think of packages compared to NAN? NAN is cool. I just think it's more it's a more complex Zapier at the end of the day. I like to think of packages, and I'm continuing to position it as an outcome automation platform, right? So if you want, sales, here's the package that gets you sales. If you want leads, here's the package that gets you leads. If you want to optimize your Facebook ads, this is the package that will do that, right? That will reduce your cost per lead. So packages for me is more geared towards outcomes, right? So like if I want, 100 connections on LinkedIn a week, run this package, right? Whereas N8N is just pretty much if this, then that automation, similar to Zapier, okay? Mark says, yes, it's coaching. Cool. All right. So she says, since my software creates lead magnets, would my tools be like, what lead magnet do you need for XY business? So yeah, your lead magnet would be, that would be what it is. Sorry. Your tools would be lead magnets for XYZ. Okay. Yeah, that's cool because your software should be able to do this, right? So yeah, your landing pages would be lead magnets for real estate agents, and then your page would just have a bunch of lead magnets, and ideally it'd be a teaser, right? So you'd give them just enough to where they need to sign up or pay to customize it or do something, but that's the strategy there. So Miguel says, this is fascinating. Do you think that I could create AI personas that inspire trust and convert traffic as long as I'm providing original real value? Okay, so here's the one thing that I'll say about this, okay? Again, goal with cold traffic is trust, all right? The thing that will erode trust extremely quickly is AI anything, like an AI persona, okay? That will erode trust because we're getting smarter. People are getting smarter, and they can tell when they're dealing with AI. Okay. That's why it's important and that's why I stress the one-on-one call. Okay. Because something that I'm seeing now is, I was walking down the street one of these days and I saw a bus with an AI ad. They used an AI image generator. I don't know which model, but you can tell that they used it in their ad, and that was like, no, you don't do that, so yes, I would say don't use AI before you've gained the trust, but use it after you've established trust. And one way to do that is say, hey, you can buy access to my thing, right? And included in this thing, you get this AI version of me that you have access to 24/7, right? It's trained on the way I think, my courses, my blah, 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 right? So like that value, right? That added value should only be added after you've established trust in a real way, like in this situation like that we have now, this Q&A where it's live and I take my time out to help you, right? Like that's how you establish trust. So establish trust first, then you can do the AI fun stuff later. That's my tip there. So Carl says, how many blog posts per day are acceptable to post? Any strategy? I don't think there's a number, right? And I think that, like I mentioned to Philip before, there really isn't a cadence or a rate at which you need to do this posting. In the case of niches, right, I put these 1,000 pages out like one time, right, and then I just let it sit. If you want to be more, if you want to make it look more human and do like 100 a month, you can do that, right? But ideally, you just need to get to a place where you have 1,000 pages out there, right, to see how it behaves. Because when it works, right, you're going to wish that you had done a lot more before, right? Because it takes a few months to kick in. But once it works, you will have traffic coming forever, okay? All right. So another comment says, crazy question. Are there 1,000 tools on these 100 pages? No. Okay. So ideally, each page has one tool, and sometimes it's the same tool, right? Sometimes it's a tool that's tweaked for that specific use case, right? So if we go back to the niches pages, okay, let's see here, the niches, let's see. Yeah, so these tools, right, they're the same tool at the end of the day. They're just catered towards the specific niche that page is dedicated towards, right? And that's the beauty of packages and the tools that I make, right, is that they're flexible enough to work in any scenario, but the work only has to be done once. Okay, so that's the goal, is that you shouldn't be making tools that like you have to like spend an hour or two on each page. No, the tool should be a universal tool that accepts a parameter. In this case, in the case of niches, it's like, what's the tool? Is it Reddit? Okay, cool. Reddit's the tool. We just patch Reddit, and then it automatically will create the right tool. Okay. All right. So let's see. Brian says internet marketing. Okay, that's your niche. Cool. Yeah. So are there 1,000 tools on these? 1,000 pages? Yeah. So it's the same. I guess that's the same question that I answered. Okay. Cool. I don't know if you guys have any more questions, but yeah. So if you were in the group, I did mention, okay, that I'm going to start doing this for people and their businesses. Okay. So I will build your 1,000-page tool. Okay. I will help you with your Facebook ads. Right. And this is a service that I'm offering for $199 a month. Okay. And you can cancel anytime. There's no contracts or no, no obligation to stick around, right? But if you do stick around for a year and nothing happens, right, you get no sales, which is not going to happen. But if it does, right, if nothing works, if it sucks, if all the things we do, nothing works, you can keep all the packages that we did, and I'll refund you. Okay. And that is just something that I'm offering because most people here, they've already bought a product from me. Okay. So trust has been established already. And yeah, this is something that I want to do. I've done one-on-ones with a lot of you already. So I think you understand, what happens on one-on-ones. But yeah, that is a service I'm offering. I'll probably drop a link in the Facebook group or via the email list. If that sounds good to you, hop on. Likely you won't have to stay on the whole year, to be honest. I think after a month or 2 or 3, you'll have everything you need to see some success, but that is a service that I'm launching soon. So hopefully you jump on that if you think that sounds good. But yeah, we'll be working together. It won't be you just doing all the work. It'll be me doing the things that will definitely work, which is creating these 1,000-page packages, as well as helping you with your Facebook strategy and getting you one-on-one calls. Okay. And this is why I have an insane money back guarantee, because you will get calls. Okay. And you will get traffic. And if you don't, you get a refund. So yeah. That all I got for you guys today. This was a really productive call. Let me know in the comments if you thought this was helpful, if you'll be participating in the next one, if you think you might take me up on my Done With You program, where we build 1,000 pages, create the tools, and get you one-on-one calls. Yeah, so I'll stick around for a couple minutes just to see if there's any questions, concerns. Yeah. All right, just gonna hang out for a little bit, 5 more minutes. Okay, so Carl says that was very helpful. Can we have this slideshow? Yes, this will be, once this is done, I will share it to the email list and the Facebook group. Let's see. Next question says, Mark says, thank you as always, very precious advice. You rock. No, you rock. Thanks for coming out. Miguel says, do you think that if the brand I was building was honest and upfront about their AI usage, do you think they'd help me gain trust while also protecting privacy? If the brand I was building was honest. Okay. Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can try it, right? You can say, hey, this is an AI version of me. I help you do X, Y, and Z, right? But I just think that personally for me, right, as someone who's very deeply ingrained into AI. I've used it for the last 4 years and built business around it. I would not want to see someone selling me access to their AI bot. I want access to the real person, right? And then if I want access to that real person on the side, right, maybe I use their AI bot, but I want the real person, you know? Let's see. Digital Smith says, where can I find better tutorials on packages and how to build more variants of it? Okay, so my question, I mean, sorry, my answer there would be, what do you want to build? Because I think the issue, and I call this the blank canvas problem, okay? You know what you want to do, but you don't know how to express it, right? And this is a problem not just with packages, but it's with N8N, which I would say is the closest thing to packages. If you look on Fiverr, if you look on Upwork, right, there are people who are willing to pay for their N8N automation to be built. And that tells me that this type of automation, the free form automation where you can drag and drop and do whatever you want, is hard. Okay. It is not easy. It's hard. And I could, you know, there could be better tutorials or there could be more tutorials, which I agree, there could be more. Okay. But I think you'll still run into the issue of, you know, how do I build the thing I want to build? So yeah, my advice to you would be to, you know, post in the Facebook group what you're trying to build, and then someone will help you out, or I'll help you out. Tom says, thanks. Very interesting. Brian says, very helpful. Thank you. Darcy, wonderful session. Michael says, when did the call start? So the calls will start next week. Okay. And there's customers, you know, there's customers all over the world. So I'm trying to do them in the morning and at night. Okay. And then work on packages throughout the day. Okay. So build your packages out that will grow your business during the day. Okay. And you'll feel free to send emails, feel free to do whatever, but there will be calls during the morning, during the day, ideally 2 calls a month. So one to set the strategy for the month, right? So like, what are we going to tackle? What's the goal that we want to achieve? Do we want more pages? Do we want to optimize ads? And then another call to either recap or to realign on the goal for the month. But that's really it. Like, if you want your business to grow, you need leads from the organic side, so Google search, or you need leads or ChatGPT now, or you need leads from Facebook or paid sources. Okay. Like, if you can't do that, your business is not going to grow. All right. So John says, I showed up late. Is there a quick bullet point list summarizing the ideas to implement? Yeah. So this video, this live is going to be available after I end it. The recorded version will be available, but the quick summary is cold traffic, trust. It's all trust based. You need to gain trust. Gain trust is one-on-one calls. And the only way to get customers is via paid ads or organically through Google or ChatGPT. Okay. Look forward to work with you. You're amazing. Look forward to working with you. All right. James says, thank you. Great advice. How does this match up with your course? I'm purchasing that today. Okay. So the course is really good for really getting your brain working, thinking about, you know, how to create a big business, right? How to think in a way where you're trying to build a business where it makes, you know, $1 million a year. Okay. Maybe you're not going to make $1 million a year, but at least you're thinking like somebody that does, right? And yeah, the course is good for that. Now, this one-on-one that I'm providing, right, which I think is a steal personally, this one-on-one thing that I'm providing is geared towards people that are trying to grow their business, right? And there's only one way to grow a business, and that's getting new customers and getting them every day, new prospects, new leads every single day. Okay. So the one-on-one is really just dedicated towards creating the systems that will lend itself to you getting customers, signing up, leads, one-on-one calls every day. Okay. That's the goal. Okay. So Digital Smith says, for example, a form idea, input a product and output to have an AI build creative with proper headlines. Yeah, that is, yeah. Post it in the Facebook group. I'll tell you what you need to do. You just need inputs. You need one input with the name of the product, maybe a product description, and then add a few nodes in there that will create the image and a description. Darcy says, I missed this. What's the name of the Facebook group? Let me type it in the chat. The Facebook group is here. It's facebook.com/groups/niches. All right. That's how you get to the Facebook group. Sorry, Miguel says, I think you misunderstood what I meant. I feel thankful for your attempts at answering my questions. You're the best. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Feel free to hop on a call if you want me to understand it better. Tom says, are they 30-minute calls? So the one-on-ones are 30-minute calls. They are, yes. If we do the monthly package, what level of packages will we need for this strategy to work? So any if you have packages already, it works with any level you have. Okay. So you don't have to be worried about that. John says, thank you. Jerry says, thanks for all you do. All right. So yeah, so I think that's it. If there aren't any more questions, I will be sending a link out shortly to the one-on-one program. Okay. Yeah. So I hope to see you there. Hope to start helping you guys out with your businesses. All right. And thanks for coming out. All right. So that's the end of the live. Until next time. See ya.